Hallie and Eloise on either side of the chair. Either side? Yep. All right.
Okay, girl.
Yep. Good stuff. Congrats. Good work, guys.
Okay. All right.
Up the wall. Susie?
Do I go in front, sit in the chair, or the podium?
Podium first.
Sorry, we're a couple minutes late, but let me just say welcome. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Want to just give a extraordinary shout out to all of our partners, our colleagues. Elections matter, conservative leadership matters. Couldn't be more proud of the work that everybody's done to stand up for the courage to fight for our kids and save babies. Special shout out to Senator Albright, Senator Kauth, and Senator Hansen. They've done yeoman's work and could not be more proud. And from my seat, it's an extraordinary privilege to be a part of answering prayers that's been going on for over 50 years. Today is an extraordinary, historic day for the state of Nebraska. It's a day where it's really simple. We're standing up to protect our kids so that our state has a bigger and brighter future. LB 574 is the most significant win for social conservative agenda in over a generation in the state of Nebraska. I think that's something we need to clap and shout about. This bill is a part of what certainly will be a historic legislative session here in the state of Nebraska because of the extraordinary leadership that stands behind me. It's all about protecting our kids, cutting taxes, growing agriculture, and standing up for our values. Extraordinary stuff. The bill that I'm going to be signing in a couple minutes, LB 574, is simply two things. It's about protecting our kids and saving babies. Pure and simple. Don't want to listen to all the other stuff that people are trying to make it out to be. It's two simple things: protecting our kids and saving our babies. LB 574 bans abortions after 12 weeks. This is the first piece of legislation to save babies in over a decade in the state of Nebraska. And these efforts answer prayers of over 50 years. The second piece of LB 574 bans the unregulated use of puberty blockers and bans irreversible surgeries for kids under 19. Kids in Nebraska have to be 18 years old to get a tattoo. Kids in Nebraska have to be 21 to drink alcohol or buy tobacco products. We enact laws simply because we understand that kids lack the necessary judgment to make the best decisions for themselves. LB 574 steps towards making sure our kids aren't making harmful decisions and that they're going to regret for the rest of their life and that they're duped by outside voices. It's really simple. This bill protects our kids, saves babies. Because of the work of our courageous conservative leaders across our state, I'll be signing this bill to allow our kids to grow and thrive in the state of Nebraska. We all agree our kids are our future, and we never let a kid behind. This lets our kids be kids inside and outside mom's wombs. Number one priority for me as your governor has always been about our kids, always will be. Our kids are our future. Our kids deserve protection, whether they're the unborn baby boy or girl, or a teenager trying to figure out who they are. This bill is just a start. We have a lot more work to do in the state to make sure we're protecting unborn children, supporting mothers, and letting our children grow and thrive. We are working to inspire Nebraskans to get in the game so that abortion is simply unthinkable in the state of Nebraska. We get everybody in the game so our voices are heard, our quiet conservative voices are heard. We will have the safeguards necessary to protect our babies way from the beginning and make sure our kids are not subjected to irreversible treatments that could they could regret or result in greater damage later on. Together, we create a culture that embraces life and love. That's who we are in the state of Nebraska. Again, can't thank Senator Hansen, Senator Kauth, and Senator Albright enough for your leadership. And with that, I'll turn it over to Senator Albright.
Thank you very much. Well, good afternoon. This is a most historic day, and I'm glad to be a part of it. In June of 2022, the United States Supreme Court reversed Roe v. Wade in the case of Dobbs versus Jackson Women's Health Organization, ruling that, quote, Roe was egregiously wrong and on a collision course with the Constitution from the day it was decided. Dobbs returned authority to the states and to the people to decide how best to protect the lives and safety of the unborn children and their mothers. I'd like to start today by thanking Nate Graz and Karen Bowling and their staff at the Nebraska Family Alliance, Tom Benzer and Marion Miner, and their staff at the Nebraska Catholic Conference, Sandy Danick, there's Sandy, and her staff at the Nebraska Right to Life, Adam Schwen, not so sure if he's here, and the Susan B. Anthony Pro-Life America for spending countless hours crafting and supporting LB 626, the Nebraska Heartbeat Act, and working tirelessly to save the lives of the preborn children in our state. We wouldn't be here today without these people and their organizations. Although LB 626 was unable to pass this year, together, we're able to better protect the women and children by successfully moving Nebraska's 20-week law down to 12 weeks, keeping everything from the original bill except the heartbeat protection. I want to thank Senator Ben Hansen, who chairs the Health and Human Service Committee, and Speaker John Arch for negotiating the 12-week amendment and finding a way forward. I also want to thank Senator Kathleen Kauth for allowing us to put this important pro-life protection to become part of her LB 574. I'd like to thank our Lieutenant Governor Joe Kelly for his calm demeanor as he kept things running smoothly during the final reading debate. To my fellow colleagues standing here today, I want to thank you all for supporting each other. We've certainly had a lot of setbacks, but to see this bill all the way through General Select and final reading, last but certainly not least, I'd like to thank Governor Jim Pillen, Lieutenant Governor Joe Kelly, and their staffs for supporting pro-life issues in Nebraska. Today is about celebrating and protecting the unborn, allowing our children to grow, and every human being has a right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I look forward to the day when every child is protected from conception to the elective abortions, from elective abortions in our state. Thank you.
And it's all right if all of us cry. It's all right. Senator Kauth, you've been a warrior, and we're very grateful for your leadership.
Well, it has been a very interesting first session, a very long one, and I just have to say that I could not be prouder than to work with this group of people who have had my back every step of the way. Julie, Senator Slama, who gave us all heart attacks because all day on Friday we didn't know what was going on, and she came in very, very ill because this is important. Protecting our children is critically important. I brought LB 574 because we have too many kids who are being swept up in what is a social contagion and being told that their bodies are not perfect the way they are, and if they just switch their gender, they'll be fine. Everything will be great. That's not true. Our kids need help. They need to know that they are perfect exactly the way they are, not the way they think they should be. LB 574 protects kids from surgeries and the cross-sex hormones and puberty blockers that are being prescribed unnecessarily. It's not exactly what we wanted, but as I've been finding out, you don't get exactly what you want, so I think next year I should ask for something much, much bigger and work my way down. But I've just been so pleased to work with this group of people, and I want to tell everyone who's out there, when you saw the filibustering going on, please know, on the sides, everywhere, were conversations with all the other senators. We have been working on issues, not just this one, but every issue that we are going to get passed this year, we have been ignoring the filibuster and doing our work, and I think that's important for everyone to remember. I also want people to understand that had they not filibustered, this bill would have been dead in February because these are 3 to 5 year issues. This would have been something I've worked on over the interim and brought back. But because the filibuster gave us the time to talk to each other, the time to get more experts to talk to each other, the time to have more testimonies, the filibuster actually is what made this happen. And so I doubt it was their intention, but that gave us the time to make this work, and now we will be able to let children grow. I'm so pleased that Senator Hansen and Senator Albright were able to bring the abortion ban and get it on this bill. Again, the title of this bill is Let Them Grow. And I don't think it gets any more specific than having a baby grow. So thank you very much to everybody. I so appreciate each one of you.
I certainly want to take a minute so that everybody can acknowledge our senators in the unicameral, the tireless work. Thank you for pointing it out, Senator Kauth, the tireless work that our senators do, not only on the legislative floor, outside, and then the session ends in a couple of weeks, but it never ends for our legislators. They are working tirelessly, and I couldn't applaud them more. And talk about one that is a hard worker and is grinding every day, Senator Hansen. Thank you for your leadership.
Yeah, thank you.
The governor and I were just talking about babies earlier before we started this, and I asked him, so do you carry a baby like a football? And we might find out here soon enough, so always curious. All right, well, good afternoon, everyone. It's good to see so many people here for this historic event, and I hope to be standing next to my colleagues and friends many more times the rest of the year to sign into law other significant pieces of legislation. But today we are here for LB 574. LB 574 came about from listening to those in opposition and support, crafting a finalized bill that takes into consideration expressed concerns. It was a great culmination of legislative teamwork, compromise, and courage. While this approach doesn't seem to be the norm in Washington, D.C., this is what good government looks like. We as Nebraskans believe in passing thoughtful legislation that protects the most vulnerable people in our state, the unborn. We also believe in protecting our children from irreversible harm caused by actions and behaviors they are not mature enough to comprehend. This is nothing new in our government and society as a whole. I am proud to have played a part in the passing of this bill and want to thank my colleagues, the governor and his office, and the people of Nebraska for all their prayers and support. I especially want to thank Senator Albright for her tireless efforts on bringing the heartbeat bill to the floor, and to Senator Kauth for her determination by setting the stage for how we approach so-called gender-affirming care in Nebraska with LB 574. None of this would be possible with them. Finally, I want to remind people that when it comes to impactful legislation that protects our children, we will do what needs to be done. Let's make sure to not confuse Nebraska nice with Nebraska meek. With the passing of this bill, we showed more that we are Nebraska strong, Nebraska brave, and Nebraska that believes in the value of life, one that has the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Thank you, everybody.
We will sign the bill, and then we'll take questions afterwards. So I have Suzanne and I have her two oldest granddaughters, Eloise and Helly, with us. Helly really likes this. She watched everybody in session and voting the last two votes, so Helly wanted to come and be a part of it. And then the Ponds are allowing us to introduce Gemma. She's 5 days old, and Suzanne said this is something we need to do, I think because Suzanne wanted to hold Gemma all morning, but I'm going to get a hold of her for a little while. I'm going to put her right in here. There you go. Here we go. That is pretty good. And Gemma just said there's more to come in the state of Nebraska. And she said we're just getting started when it comes to taking care of kids and saving babies. Thanks, Mom and Dad, for letting Gemma to be with us. And she didn't even, she just talked. She didn't whimper too bad. That's awesome. LB 574, the abortion ban at 12 weeks is law this second. So that's a cool thing. Take questions. Congratulations. Questions?
Governor, what's your message for people who oppose this?
You know, I think that the message is really simple. The way this body is set up, you have to have a supermajority. You have to have 66% of the legislature to come together and believe in the cause. Nebraska, the message is really simple. Nebraska is a pro-life state. Nebraskans are the greatest people in the world because we have love and life in our hearts. And we believe in helping moms choose love and supporting them. And so that message. And the other is really simple. This bill that Senator Kauth led is simply about protecting our kids. It is not the side that's trying to talk about it being discriminatory. That's just not the case at all. It is simply protecting our kids, just like we do not taking alcohol, not having access to tobacco. We're protecting our kids until they can decide for themselves, not somebody else for them.
Governor, part of the agreement with 574 is to send the regulation to blockers and cross-sex hormones to the chief medical officer.
Yes.
What would be your guidance that you would issue to your appointees medical officer?
Yeah, my guidance to Dr. Tesmer, number one, Dr. Tesmer, I've known a long time. He's practiced in the state of Nebraska for over 35 years. He knows Nebraska. He understands his job is to carry out the law that has been signed in, and that's what we expect him to do.
What is your response to the argument that this bill violates Nebraska's single subject rule?
I'm sorry, say that again, please.
What's your response to the argument that this bill contains two separate subjects and thus violates the single subject?
I would say the people that are arguing that need to go back and just study the history. This is not the first time that's ever happened by a long ways.
Governor, are you prepared for legal challenges? There are a number of groups that are already saying they're going to sue. To what extent is the state prepared to take that on?
Yeah, of course we're prepared, and of course we're going to win if that takes place.
And Governor, when you say it's about protecting youth from making irrevocable decisions, current law requires parental consent, so aren't you overriding the wishes of the family?
You know, again, we believe in protecting our kids, making sure that parents and kids don't get duped into this silliness that if you do this, you're going to become happy. That is absolutely Lucifer at its finest, and we believe this law protects and allows our children to make decisions on their own when they become of age. Anything else? Well, thank you all for being here. Again, big kudos to our legislators. You guys are awesome. And let's give it to the star of the hour, Gemma. She was beautiful. Thank you, Pons. And thank you to everybody here for all your years and years of hard work and Nebraskans' prayers for over 50 years. Let's have a great rest of Nebraska Day. Thank you. Godspeed.